Welcome to Builds with Blocks, a show centered around the micro action figures and brick-based construction sets of the Halo universe. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, and I'm joined by Tom Fishenden.
Time to finish this fight.
Oh boy.
Matt Salvatore.
Ahoy, ahoy. How we doing, guys?
And Gabe Clem.
Hello, everyone.
With the addition of Halo 4 to the PC version of Master Chief Collection, we wanted to take a look back at the Mega Construx collection of that era. Yes, we realize it's been on Xbox the entire time. Our plan for you today is to discuss the Halo 4 sets and agree on a top 10 list. This is going to be a fun conversation. I've created this PowerPoint presentation for us to look at with pictures of everything that we've identified from the Halo 4 era, and we're gonna talk through it, and we're gonna come to an agreement somehow on the best 10 sets, and we're also going to rank them in order. So we're going to come up with a number 1 all the way down through number 10 for you. So it should be a good conversation. Before we jump into the main topic of the show, we usually do, what we've been doing on the block front, but we're going to skip that. We're just going to talk about Halo 4 a little bit. It should be a good look back at the game, what it meant to each of us, and our thoughts about the game and where it ranks against the others. So let's start off that conversation. I'm gonna go to Gabe first. What are your thoughts on Halo 4?
Halo 4 is actually one of my favorite Halos, and there is a reason for that, and that's because it was the first Halo that I had ever gotten. Day of release, I was 11 years old, and my dad had gotten me my first Xbox. He got me the Halo 4 limited edition Xbox 360, and obviously that coming with Halo 4, I probably played that game at least like 4 hours a day every day for like I can't even. It's how I met a lot of friends, and cool. I think that was one of the first games I ever 100%ed. So I got all the achievements and all the armor. Wow. And
there's a lot of multiplayer achievements in Halo 4 too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I went hard in that game. Little me was a savage. But the addition of Season 4 to the Master Chief Collection, I'm super happy with being able to go back to the original customization style for your character in the menu. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fun to play around with and seeing all the armors. Even some that you wouldn't have been able to get unless you had bought old McFarlane's or something. Seeing all the permutations is really neat. The weapon customization with the skins and everything, that was a cool throwback. But overall, I love Halo 4. I'm excited to talk more about the Mega Construx aspect of it, but I'm really excited with all the Halo 4 hype that's going around the community at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, so what's it like to go back then? So, because you put so much time into it. I find if I put a ton of time into a game, from a long time ago, then I'll go and dabble in the game. Yeah. But I won't play through the full campaign, or I won't take as much time.
I think
Are you back in?
I just replayed Halo 4's Legendary campaign 2 days ago.
Really?
I haven't stopped playing Halo 4 since the day I got it. I play it on MCC probably at least 10 times every time I'm online. Halo 4 it's just one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite multiplayers. I don't know why. I know that's a controversial thing to say, and I'm probably going to get set on fire, but I really like Halo 4.
Well, it's one of those things where if it was your first Halo, it makes sense, right? I think I mentioned that in one of the podcasts. I forget if it was Mission Debrief, but
it was the first Halo.
One of your first.
It was the first one that I had got the day of release. Prior to that, I had played Halo 3 with my brother. When did that release? 2009? He got it for 2007. He got it for Christmas, and I remember playing it with him. So, I started off with Halo 3, but the first one that was mine, I guess, was Halo 4, so I had, it's personal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go in reverse age order. Tom, how about you? Where's a place in your heart?
So I have a lot of love for 4, because of something even more controversial.
Oh boy!
I actually quite like the art style.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes,
you're the one, huh?
I think that. So the Covenant's interesting. I think that the Storm faction is different enough that it makes sense that they look so different. But I really like the direction they took the UNSC in, kind of going like a little bit more futuristic, but having a lot of the utilitarian elements from Reach. So the Marines, for example, having like loads of pouches and things, and looking a little bit more modern, but not quite there. And I just think it's cool because it kind of all goes back to that variety. Like with the UNSC forces, when you look at them, there's Oni troopers, there's Marines in like fully enclosed equipment, there's Marines with the Reach trooper style helmet who pop up in quite a few missions, and then obviously the like Desert Tan BDU style as well. So just from that kind of art perspective, I really enjoy the game.
So you're into Space Marines, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's a conversation that's been had right on the internet, and I'm sure you've been involved. And that's one thing that like I tend to like the classic Marines.
Yeah.
But they're not like they're more like what modern Marines look like, right? Like in current day. So it would make sense, and that it took me a while to wrap my head around the way that the Halo 4 Marines look. It's like they look weird, but they're in space. They're in a space mission, so why wouldn't they look like that, right? They have that helmet and that gear.
So every time I see the Halo 4 Marines, I think of that moment in The Dark Knight where the guy asks Batman, "What's the difference between you and me?" And then Batman says, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." They look like they're wearing hockey pads to me.
No, yeah.
I'm Batman.
I think that like overall the art direction, I don't know, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like they took a lot of steps to make it feel a lot more rugged and like utilitarian. Like take for example the Warthog. That vehicle would get a beating in the previous games if you were like constantly flipping it, but now it's got things like a roll cage. It just feels like it was a really iterative step in terms of how they conveyed the Halo universe.
Yep.
And I will say, because I realise I'm going on about art style a lot, but those cutscenes, especially the Spartan Ops episodes, like that sequence with Lasky on board the Infinity,
I just watched that.
so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean you get all the Spartan Ops
Yeah,
cutscenes too, and those are also fantastic. So they put a lot of effort into those.
yeah,
for
they
sure.
really did.
Yeah. Matt, how about you?
All right. So, like Tom, I actually really do love the art style for Halo 4. The only thing I don't like the Marines, and I've obviously made that known. So I like the Infinite Marines that we're working at right now. But for me, Halo 4 is my favorite Halo game, and it kind of
look at this. We got two.
It kind of comes down, and I know there's a lot of different things to it, but it's really the story. I think the story it has a feel to I feel like the natural progression of the characters would go. So I really do like the idea that 343 pulled us into the Forerunners, and I know a lot of people disagree and think that maybe the Forerunners shouldn't have been touched, but I feel like they would have crucified 343 either way if they didn't involve the Forerunners or not. So I like that 343 kind of took that moment to fill in the story elements that Bungie had kind of laid the seeds for. Like Bungie's like the ultimate J.J. Abrams and and always laying those seeds, and then 343 actually kind of filled them instead of just like, throwing them out. So Halo 4...
to go on that thread a little bit, we've talked about this in Mission Debrief. Like, what else was 343 supposed to do, right? Like, the Flood story had been told. So were they going to go back to the Flood?
Well,
or
even
tell
at the
story?
even at the end of Halo 3, the legendary cutscene, the Forward Unto Dawn is arriving at Requiem.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it was
And they didn't
already
have
all.
to- yeah, I mean, Bungie laid them, like, they didn't have to take that and run with it, but they chose to, and I'm glad they did too.
Yeah, so Halo 4, the story's probably what grabs me the most about it. I don't think Chief has ever looked better. I think his armor is awesome.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
what is it about the armor that you like as opposed to the more classic?
The classic look, what always made me look not as much would be the shoulder pads. I like the Halo 4 shoulders because in the others, it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's as, it seems very like gapish. So you have a bit of a gap, but the shoulder pads are able to kind of flex with it. Chief looks like a bit bulkier. He looks more like a tank.
His silhouette's a lot better.
Yeah, and the helmet, there's something about the helmet that I think it feels a little fuller. Oopsies. Feels a little fuller, and I just really like the design. I mean, I'm not. I'll say Infinite Chief is definitely creeping up on me because I like that kind of Forward Unto Dawn.
Oh boy, here we go.
TV show
blurred
design.
Background, but yeah, there you go. I love it. Yeah, he looks pretty good.
Infinite Chief is probably my favorite iteration of Chief to date.
Yeah.
But Halo 4.
Well, and so speaking about the armor, and I know it's this again. This conversation has been had, but from the jump to Halo 4, like they had to push the look, they had to push the style, and in order to do that, they needed to add all the detail that it did to his armor, right? Like that was just a necessary thing to make it a showpiece.
Yeah.
At the end of the Xbox 360 lifestyle or life cycle. And then now they're in this point where they're like, well, we can still make it look really good, but we can take away some of those little, detail elements, right? And rely more on like scuffed armor and things like that.
Well, in hindsight, what they probably should have done with Halo 4 is that they should have left Chief in his traditional armor and then had him upgrade when he met up with Infinity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That canonically would have made a little more sense, and it would have allowed everyone.
Those nanobots, to tell you what.
Tony Stark was in there while they were all, coasting on that ship as they were floating in space.
So let's talk about any other art style, game, I guess story. And then, what about gameplay for you guys? What's hits for you? I guess let's go back to you, Gabe. What is about that gameplay that you enjoy?
I think
Halo 4 when you
sprint.
The others.
I'm gonna dodge that word. I'm gonna dodge it because this channel would be burned at the stake.
No.
Ricochet, BTB, and probably Fiesta is a loose game type. What my favorite game type is definitely BTB in Halo 4. I like the map design. I like that classic maps were brought back as well, like Ragnarok, or Valhalla Ragnarok. But I'm not sure, because I've never played Call of Duty, and I hear that Halo 4 is compared to Call of Duty a lot.
It's most of the loadout situation, I think.
Is it? I like the loadouts, to be honest.
Unless you get killed by it when it flies down and hits.
I really like
that. That ever happened to you?
Ordnance drops.
The ordnance, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I thought the gameplay mechanics in Halo 4 were really cool. Honestly, I'd kind of prefer that over Halo 5.
Blasphemy.
The all of the superhuman Spartan abilities are fun sometimes, but Halo 4 is probably only thing I'd say to change is probably like the not take out sprint. I love sprint. I prefer my I prefer my super soldiers with the ability to run and not stumble,
and not just jog or walk. Right?
Yeah, but the fact that it's
a power walk.
It's kind of infinite. And even when you're being shot, you're still running, or that your shields can recharge when you're running. That's something I enjoy that Halo 5 improved on. That you can't charge your shields unless you stop and you wait. But otherwise, I mean, I like the gameplay of Halo 4. Obviously, I still play it every single day.
A few hours, right?
Yeah.
How about for you, Tom? What's the where does it stand? I guess against the other games. Does it feel like Halo enough to you, or would you prefer a different Halo?
I'm going to say something very controversial.
We're full of that today. Look at that.
Well, I've got two controversial things to say. The first thing is just off of what Gabe said about Halo 5. I really like the Spartan abilities, and I think Halo 5 is my favourite multiplayer in the Halo game series so far.
I like it too. Yeah, it's up there.
I think it makes sense, like especially like now I've read a few more of the books and like heard Shadows of Reach and like some of the stuff that the Spartans can do. I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense that I can have that as a gameplay mechanic. But more to the point, my even more controversial statement, I think that Spartan Ops is probably one of the best things to be introduced in a Halo game in terms of gameplay, just across the franchise as a whole. Purely because for me, I could not care less about multiplayer. As a gamer, I really enjoy single player story, and I play things to be more immersed in a story than I would if I was like watching a film or a television show. And so for me, having a narrative that kind of picked up off the back of that and then still built on it. Now, granted, it was a bit repetitive. The gameplay sequences weren't the best.
Have you played it with friends?
Yeah,
Like
I do actually have some friends, believe it or not. I have played
That mode is made to be played with a 4-person,
Yeah.
fire team. Like, it's way more fun if you do it that way.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. But I think even from like the single player perspective, it's still quite fun because on a lot of the missions you get like Marines accompanying you, which is basically Halo. And I just really enjoyed how it sort of took, like you say, that multiplayer aspect and thought, okay, how can we put this within a narrative setting? And I'm really hopeful that that's what they mean with Infinite when they say we're going to get more stories from it as a platform, that maybe we'll see more things like Spartan Ops where there's an ongoing narrative that ties into things.
I'm glad you brought up Spartan Ops because
boy.
it was Spartan Ops Season 1, and then we never, ever heard of it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I was super disappointed in. I love Spartan Ops. I was playing it last night with Sal, actually. He and I, we got on, we were playing through it. I wonder whatever happened to that idea. I hope it makes a comeback, maybe. That'd be
Escalations. So they moved
yeah.
into Escalation. That's where they took the story. So I
That's
think
true.
originally the plan was to continue to pump out story content, but I think that they saw the player base and they realized that it's not as good. And I think the fact that it's hard to play single player, like it's just it's not very fun. In my mind.
Well, I think Tom
It's
hit the
super repetitive. It's so repetitive.
I think Tom hit the nail on the head though with where they're going is they're going to kind of fold the idea of an ongoing story like Spartan Ops into Infinite. So it looks like they learned the right lessons from what Spartan Ops was. The story was awesome.
Level of
Spartan Ops.
progression or something like that in Spartan Ops, it would just something else. There's a couple elements that are just missing.
Yeah.
The idea, like the shell, is there, but anyway.
I concur.
I find it interesting as well. I was just going to say because obviously originally Fawn was going to be part of Osiris, so they had put all that time into building his character up, and I thought that was quite an interesting way of kind of potentially folding it into another game, and I think that could be done with something like Infinite because. Say, for example, like Osiris are on, say, to Halo for whatever reason, you do some missions as them, and then they get a transmission from Oni. It says, look, this is important, but there's something even more important going on here. You could then pick that up in another game. I just think there's a lot of untapped potential there.
I'd agree with that.
Anything else about, I guess, the Chief Cortana relationship that's portrayed? I mean, that's one of the big things that people lean on is like that emotional story is told, and this is the first full game from 343, which I thought they did a great job on that story, and they decided to highlight that fact, right? That they realized, Cortana, like according to the lore, Cortana's about rampant, right? And how is she going to deal with that, and how is Chief going to deal with that? The how they portrayed that, I thought was really really good.
I'll say a controversial thing then, since we're going full controversial. If Halo had ended with Halo 4, I would have been perfectly satisfied with the narrative. Because
totally
of what was accomplished was essentially the end of Chief's journey, right?
Yeah.
He saved Earth, he defeated the Flood, defeated the Forerunners, and I think that emotional send-off of Cortana was probably one of the most pivotal moments in Halo, and I think unfortunately they threw all that emotion away by bringing Cortana back as evil Cortana. So if Halo 4 had ended with Chief getting on the Infinity with that 117 score kicking in, I would have said bravo.
Yeah, I was. So Halo 4 is the first game that I really dove into the lore and all of that. I was a part of the hype on the launch. I had played the other games before, but I never just went in on the lore.
Right.
So I really wasn't a big part of the community. But that was my original thought too. It was that Cortana is dead at the end of Halo 4, and that's fine. That was fine with me because I wasn't like I didn't have all the the lore, I guess baggage, maybe that's the right word, from the other games and like the other years leading up to that. Whereas like, okay, yeah, Cortana, that makes sense. They built it up pretty nicely right there. Now let's see what they do in Halo 5. We knew it was called Guardians and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So I agree. The way that it's been portrayed, it is what it is now, right? Like,
Yeah,
we have
for
evil
sure.
Cortana, we're going to deal with her. That's the story that 343 is going to tell. But if they would have left it as Cortana is gone, that would have been okay too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, guys, is it really Cortana, or is it the Didact choosing her?
So let's get into some Halo 4 sets anyway.
No, that.
Well, hey,
that-
really quick, let's talk about Didact too, and Didact and Forerunners. So, I guess let's talk about the game. We do have some Didact to talk about in a little bit with the sets. But how did you guys think he came across? Knowing there was just little, seeds that were dropped in the Halo 3 terminals. Go ahead, Gabe. Talk about the Didact.
An incredibly monumentous waste of potential.
Yeah. He's still out there.
I'm really, and I know there's a lot of people like this, the whole introducing one of what could have been like the most savage characters into a game series and killing him off in a comic book. That is not. I hated that. I was really disappointed in that. I hate that in Halo 4, you only even see himself for like 2 missions. Otherwise, he's just in a big ball.
He's a voice.
but his dialogue, man, his dialogue.
Oh
is
yeah,
like, talk to me all day.
He's
buddy.
cool. That's why I was upset. He was amazing, and they could have done so much with him. Reading, I'm not sure if any of you have read the Forerunner trilogy by Greg Bear, like Silentium, Primordium, all those. Though that series, if anyone listening wants to know more about Didact, please read those books. They're incredible. It will teach you so much, not even about Didact, about the entirety of the Forerunners and the Flood War, and it's amazing. But after reading Silentium specifically, and then having played everything and watched the terminals from Halo 4, another thing you should look into is terminals from Halo 4. Everything came together about the Didact and the Forerunners so well. And I think the day I found that out about the seeds that were planted by like Librarian and all that, I had goosebumps. I had no idea that they could. This was all predetermined.
Yes.
I just wished I was.
That's
why I love it so much, because I was like, well, how did they even manage? It was right here and I didn't even see it.
Yep.
I think Didact and the Forerunners are amazing. I wish we could have seen more of him.
Well, he's still out there, so
Yeah.
he's just composed. He's only composed, but his essence is somewhere in the domain or somewhere. So we maybe
if Cortana came back, Didact can make it.
Well, I'm going to make a point here I made on our Promethean show recently. There's concept art for him in Halo 5. So they fully had a plan for how they could have pulled him from that sequence in Escalation and explained him appearing in the game again.
Okay. For me, the Didact is actually one of the best characters for Halo, not because of his badass dialogue, just because I think in a way he represents where 343 was trying, where their head was at, So first off, I love this idea that it never undid the idea that the Forerunners committed mass suicide to save the universe, right? Because like a General Zod from Man of Steel, his imprisonment was his salvation, right? That's what caused him to survive the firing of the ring. But when you look at how, obviously in Halo 4, it basically Chief kills him in Halo 4, and then you can add the comic if you want. But in my mind, it was this idea of, yes, the Forerunners are officially gone. It is now time for humanity to assume the mantle. So it was this kind of transition from Forerunner to humanity. And so though I love the Didact, I can also see why it was his time to end. He was the last vestige of the only Forerunner who could obtain the mantle again, and he was trying to. But once he's gone, it truly then did pass to humanity. Yeah. Obviously, Cortana interrupted that, but I can see that that idea of transitioning to it. Now, I personally had wished that 343 had stayed in that that struggle between humanity and the Forerunners a little bit more. But I can kind of see where their headspace was going.
Yeah, well, they're listening to feedback and all that sort of stuff, and stories change. But the other thing is, just to mention it, to tie it into Halo 5 a little bit, and then I want to also tie it into the main topic of the show, like Warden Eternal. Like, how cool would it have been if Didact was like either in control of Warden Eternal or somehow like had some, or Didact and Cortana would have been in Halo 5, and like that was one of the main conflicts. Like that was like the third faction. Right, in Halo 5 was the struggle between the Prometheans and the Created, and then also the UNSC is in there too. That would have been interesting, but we still may see something like that. I don't know, down the road.
I would be super happy to see the Forerunner Didact return.
Yeah. So in the interest of time, let's move on to the main topic of the show. And one thing I guess that Halo 4 brought us was a lot of new things that we didn't have before, in not only just Halo itself, but in the Mega Blocks at the time, those sets. So we have now a Mammoth, right? And we had the Forward Unto Dawn was a thing, but like the Mantis is brand new, right? Yeah. And then you talked about the art style of the Warthogs. So there's a lot of stuff that 343 created and Mega Construx has given us in block form, which is fantastic. So the main topic of the show here is we're going to try to pull out the top 10, the best 10 sets that Mega Construx has created that are from that Halo 4 era in art style. And as I mentioned, I have this big, maybe we'll flash like the first image of it, what it looks like, so you can see, but I just have a shot of all of the sets in a little PowerPoint. We're going to move them around. We're going to eliminate it. We're going to have a fun debate. People are going to die on their hills, and it'll be a good conversation. So I want to start out with let's just maybe anything that stands out for you. So there's probably like, I don't know, 25, 30 sets here.
I feel the need to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right under Fireteam Crimson, that's Fireteam Shadow, which is a Halo 5 base set. Just throw that out there.
So Shadow is mentioned. I included that. Shadow's mentioned in Spartan Ops.
They are.
They have a little side mission where they're helping you out. Is it Spartan Ops or is it main Halo 4? It might be main Halo 4 too, but they do mention.
Is that
I'm
where
only specifying because that's a fire team comprised of nothing but Halo 5 armor specifically, like Helios, Skrill, and Argus.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So that's... We can talk about that. They may not make the top 10, but I think Fireteam Shadow is awesome.
Oh no, it's awesome. I'm not sure if it's a Halo 4 set.
Is that where Del Rio goes Fireteam Castle and Fireteam Shadow when you're on the Mammoth and he's like pull some fire? Yeah.
Yep. And I think they also do something in Spartan Ops too, but anyway. So let's talk about, Tom, why don't you start with some of the standout sets from this era. Big ones, small ones, something, and I'm just going to start moving them to this other sheet of this blank sheet, and then we're going to kind of hash out what's the best one.
Yeah. So I was going to literally jump in just to mention Warthog Resistance, because it was the very first Halo 4 set that was revealed. And I think, Gabe, you might know this, wasn't it revealed ahead of the game's release?
It was, yeah.
I feel, it was, I think, one of our first looks at the Elite Zealot.
Mm-hmm. And the new Mark 6 as well.
Yeah, the new version of the Mark 6. And obviously our first look at the new style Warthog as well. So I think it's kind of cool because obviously we've seen that with Infinite more recently, but even back as far as here, Mega were kind of getting to reveal little details and things as well. So yeah, I don't know if you think it's worth just continuing to talk about that set.
Yeah,
I think it's quite...
What about that set? We only have so much time. We're not going to do a deep dive in each set, but any specifics from that set that you just want to highlight quick?
I just think it's a really good looking set. It uses stickers, which is unfortunate. This was back when stickers were still being used. But I think overall, it captures the overall shape and aesthetic of the 343 Warthog really well.
Yeah.
To the point where it was actually my favourite hog before the Infinite one, because I feel like it just steps it up again. But obviously you had things like the additional light on it, the roll bar cages, the 2 figures, the inclusion of the sticky detonator, which was the first time seeing that as a figure accessory, and also the little forerunner structure as well, which is kind of a nice sort of tail end to that era of Mega Construx, because they went through a phase where the larger sets would be a vehicle and a structure. So another good example is the Wraith that came with the green EOD figure. That was, again, along that similar format. So it's just from kind of that nice era where they had a lot of shelf space. They were kind of really out there for everyone to purchase. And it's kind of one of those sets that I think a lot of people bought multiples of, because it's just kind of like perfectly encapsulates the game.
Why don't we do this? So I like that synopsis, but why don't we narrow down the list to, something reasonable, and then we'll kind of do it a little deeper dive, because that'll kind of help build our arguments as to why the set would be better than the other. So give me a couple more sets. Give me 3 more sets you want to add to the top 10 potentially, Tom, and then we'll go around the room.
Okay, so Forward Unto Dawn, obviously.
Oh, you're taking the Forward Unto Dawn
I am.
over. You're doing it.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know. It's not that great.
Get out of the call right now. I just remember absolutely begging my parents and saying, look, I know this is a stupid amount of money to spend on a Lego set.
Whoa,
They didn't understand that it was Mega Bloks, okay? I
Get
had
him
to
off the call.
simplify. But just begging for this set, and I think I got it for Christmas, and I just
did?
lost my mind. Yeah,
They came through, huh?
yeah,
Wow.
they did.
Fishendens. Cheers.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just, Gabe, I can see your face now, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I can barely concentrate. But no, I just think that this is a really cool set, because they obviously have got the aesthetic spot on, but it's got some nice features inside it as well, and I'm going to cut myself off there so I don't waffle.
All right.
And then moving on from that, I would also choose UNSC Fireteam Sierra, just because I bought 3 of them back in the day. They were a really good Halo 4
Are those
army
the green
builder.
boys?
Yeah, it's the Marines.
Yeah, the Marines.
And
Marines,
it was
that's right.
just, a perfect army builder again. And then lastly, I'm actually going to go for the Blue Storm Elite Armory pack, because again, this is one which I think I had 5 of. It was the easiest way to amass the most basic Covenant Elite rank, and it also had some really nicely painted weapons. I mean, you get the Plasma Repeater, which is a really cool weapon to have anyway at that point, a painted Storm Rifle, and a painted Needler. So yeah. That's my 3.
Cool. All right. So, Gabe, give me 3 more.
First off, Infinity Armor Bay.
Infinity Armor Bay. Which one is that on the PowerPoint?
That's the one with the Red Recon. The Red Recon, the technician, all the way at the top next to the Cauldron Clash.
It's the changing station.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one. Yeah.
Infinity Armor Bay, to me, that was such a unique idea.
That's cool. That's a cool
And
set.
I was really, 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 really happy with that set. Special little fact: there is somewhere in the code, there is a video on YouTube of me doing a review of that set when I was like 13.
Yes, I need to find that.
No, just plug it. We'll plug it into
Oh,
the
dude,
wanna
it's
hear
terrible.
squeaky voice.
But yeah,
Oh, that's gonna be
that was one of my favorite sets, and it introduced one of the first ever figures with an armor skin.
Yeah.
That Recon had an armor skin, which that was pretty cool.
Is it a technician or an engineer? What do they call the extra guy there? I love that little dude.
That's a technician.
Yeah, he's super rad, and he's rare too, right?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
in
yeah.
that set.
Yep.
Well, he was in Forward Unto Dawn, except he was light gray, dark gray. Then he was in that set as blue and white. Second set I'm going to go with is probably Cryo Bay.
Look at you, man! These shelf pieces, love it.
Cryo Bay is just as Infinity Armor Bay is. It's such a unique, identifiable. It's such a unique thing from Halo, but you see it and you're like, oh, well, yeah, that's the Cryo Bay. That's where you wake up in the beginning of Halo 4. You go to sleep at the end of Halo 3. You wake up in CE. It's the first thing you come out of. It's just such an iconic piece. I really liked it, and it's the first time you ever got little baby mini Cortana. One little stud Cortana.
That's right.
This is true.
So then the last set, I'm probably gonna just snag the Pelican gunship.
Okay.
Finally.
Well, you don't own it. We all own it together. We need to find a home for that.
That Pelican. So unfortunately, that is one set that I never got to own personally.
Wow.
There's still time.
My friend had it, so I did get to thoroughly examine the set and identify all of its key features. But
all the lights and the sounds.
obviously,
that it has.
one of the very best parts of that is the fact that there's a night battle wagon.
Battle wagon.
Yep.
And two, that's a light up figure. That's a figure when you hit it, it lights up, which I could not wrap my mind around that when I was a little kid. I was like, how did they manage? But it itself, a lot of people don't like the Pelican's style in Halo 4. Personally, I love it. It looks, I mean, it's a gunship. That looks like a pretty badass ship. I enjoy it a lot. There were so many years of the same classic style Pelican. It was just a nice switch up in my mind. Flying it on shutdown was a lot of fun. But even then again, that's one of the biggest parts of Halo 4 because that was the first time you finally got to fly a Pelican. And then they embodied that
right?
as a set. And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Matt, give me 3 more.
All right. Well, actually,
are we taking them all?
well, we're all gonna have to pick 3, and then we're gonna have to fight for.
Well,
the top.
then
It's gonna be Hunger
add some
Games
more,
all up in
but
here.
I'm just trying to narrow it down. Like what else?
Okay.
What have we
Well,
missed? Give me 3 additional.
Well,
ones
I
that
just
we
want to
missed.
put out that first off, Gabe and Tom were only right one time, and then the other 2 picks were not top 10 material.
Oh. Okay.
The Warthog Resistance and the Pelican Gunship are top material, but the rest are not.
All I can hear is
Why
fools
are you
speaking.
taking
Oh,
this?
boy.
This is fighting.
Oh yeah, I guess
Better
Forward Unto Dawn.
deliver.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Forward Unto Dawn in there too. What was the other? Oh, the Elite Pack. All right, so yeah, I'm shocked that you guys went with that. Actually,
Oh, what
I'm
are you
gonna
going
go-
to pick? Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the best set that Mega's ever made. I'm gonna go with the Mammoth.
Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
because
I
the Mammoth.
skipped it. I didn't want it.
Get out, Tom.
This is
All right,
this is
so-
our team. We're on the same team.
So why the Mammoth?
Because the Mammoth is one of the most playable and
yeah.
developed sets that they have ever produced. It's something that you can play in, you can play on, you can play around, you can take apart and use different levels. And it's not to scale, but I think they did a pretty dang good job of getting it to be a massive tank. So I love the colors, I love all about it. And the thing about the Mammoth is I missed it first time around, and I eBayed that not too long ago. So
wow.
I ended up spending quite a bit more money than I'd like to on a Mammoth, but it's for me, it's one of those signature pieces of Halo 4, and it kind of encapsulates this idea of humanity is now a threat on the battlefield. The Covenant are like little dinky wraiths running around underneath the feet of what is the humanity, the UNSC Mammoth, the Infinity. It's like this. Humanity's here, and they're going to, destroy everything. So, Mammoth for one. Cauldron Clash will be my second choice because...
That one's controversial, I feel.
Well,
Really?
it's a structure. I
a
love...
structure.
It's really the only signature structure set that Mega has... Not signature, but specifically only structure set that Mega's created. And again, it goes to that idea of you can play around it, you can play on it, you can play with it. And I think those are the best sets because you can allow to do so much with it. So the Mammoth paired with the Cauldron Clash is actually a pretty fun little battle that you can do.
Yeah.
And lastly, I am going to go with the Broadsword.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah. So Broadsword, first time you get a 2.0 or second gen figure with the Master Chief. Mm-hmm. Or at least, I think, probably the first time, if I'm not mistaken.
It was in that first wave, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was
And-
other sets like Elephant and that.
You get the Didact, and it's actually a pretty awesome ship. So it's I wouldn't say it's completely game accurate. The game seems to be a little more curved with its edges, and this one seems a bit blockier. But But I think the Broadsword's probably the best, and those are the best sets of this line. And I think I think the Warthog Resistance, but I will say I think this line specifically suffers from not a whole lot of Covenant vehicles. Actually, there's none. You know what I mean?
There isn't any.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there
Yeah.
was the
I thought it was
Ghost.
a ghost.
There
Yeah.
was the Ghost.
What Ghost?
I completely
Oh.
forgot about that set. There's a
Okay.
Covenant Ghost that comes with a white Zealot and a steel-colored Recruit with a Spartan laser.
might
Oh,
be able
I remember
to
that
up
set.
the
I remember that
ghost.
set.
If
Do we
there's-
want to consider that for the top 10? Let's keep going, and we'll just keep that in the back of your mind if we want to
Yeah.
consider that for the top 10. But yeah, I didn't have that in my poll here. All right, so we got, let's see, let's just talk about this before I go. We have Warthog Resistance. We have, what is it? Is it Yankee Squad? Is that the squad?
Sierra
No,
Squad.
no. Sierra Squad.
Yankee was the knockoff one, right?
No,
One that
Yankee-
had one less
They're like
character.
Halo Wars 2 one.
But Yankee's
Yeah.
better than Sierra.
Oh,
Get
okay.
out.
Way
man.
better.
So
No, it's
Sierra-
way better.
We're talking about
Way
Halo
better.
4.
We've got
Well,
the
Halo Wars
gunship.
2 is good.
We've got Mammoth. We've got an Elite armor pack. We've got the Ford Unto Dawn. We've got Cauldron Clash. We have the Armor Bay. We have the Cryo Bay. And we have the Broadsword. Let me see if there's any that I want to add. I think, I'm going to put in the Mantis, the original Mantis.
Bravo.
In there. 'Cause
An
it
intellectual
needs to be talked
here.
about. it's got you can play, it's got a little structure, you can play around it, you can do lots of stop motion with that thing.
You're
Although
already
the
getting
Mantis
Matt
in
to
stop
pander
motion sounds like a
towards this. I
nightmare.
like it.
I actually don't own the Mantis, believe it or not.
Oh, you don't?
I don't own
Okay.
any version of the Mantis.
I'm gonna pull over Fireteam Crimson because I think it's rad that they represented Crimson as one of the. So this is the era, right, where they had fire teams and squads and like these 5-figure packs that a lot of people I think responded well, and they cranked out a lot of them, and it made sense that they, even though Crimson was kind of your customized, character,
Yeah.
it could be anything that you chose it to be. They gave it a face, so if you liked one of these armors, you could have it in that, mega micro action figure form. I'm going to add, so the Promethean Warrior set is kind of straddles the line, but I like having a set that's just the Prometheans.
Yeah.
So I'm going to include it here because it could be Halo 5 also, but it's also, they're in Halo 4. So you get a Watcher, you get 2 Crawlers, and you get a Knight as well as is it a turret? Is that the main structure that's in the middle there?
It's really weird.
It's not a turret. It's more of a. It looks like a glyph or like a symbol.
I would just consider it one of the 343 era Forerunner floaty bits.
Right, yeah. But that's
The
what
best
it's supposed to
be.
be.
It
It
best
has
that
like it
ever
has clear
happened.
pieces, so it looks like those things are
Yeah.
floating around it.
Yeah.
And these guys are the snow edition, right? They're the white color.
Well, they're silver.
They're
Yeah.
they're a lighter
They're a
color
lot
than some of the
lighter,
others.
yeah.
Yeah, mine are pretty white.
Something to
Ish.
consider, our thoughts now are going to be very different to at the time. Because if you think about it, at the time, for example, the reason why I went for that Elite pack is because that was the best way to get that figure at that time. Whereas now, there's a lot more ways to get them. So I think it's worth keeping that kind of context in mind as we go into this.
So that's
Well,
a good point too. Is we're excluding Halo Heroes.
Yeah.
Well, we're not excluding, but we haven't included them. I don't know if it's worth talking about those in here. We can talk about that, but I haven't included in my PowerPoint, my layout here, the Halo Heroes or the blind packs. If you guys want to consider adding those, we can. But I just felt like it was going to be, those are going to be hard to be.
That feels
stacked
more
up
like
against.
a top 10
these.
figure conversation
Yeah, I'd agree
for
with
Halo
that.
4.
Right.
Yeah.
Top 10
Yeah, 'cause
figures.
we're talking
Hey, now.
sets, right? So let's, yeah.
Exactly. So why is there an Elite with a little crate on there, Tom? What's going on with that? What's going on with that?
I'll move him to the bottom. For now. Bottom rung.
Don't
He's
you
there.
dare!
He's there. He's hanging out.
Colin,
Anything
can I
else, Gabe,
just
that you see
remind
that stands
you-
out here that we might have missed?
Well, see, these are all personal preferences.
Because we're up to about like 12, 13 at this point, so we're gonna have to make cuts. Anything that you think needs to be considered in the top 10.
That Elite with the
Couple
crate
fire
needs to go.
teams. There is the Gauss Hog we haven't talked
the
about.
Gauss Hog is really cool. To me personally, and this is, just because, once again, I'm another figure guy, but the Crawler Sniper set was really cool to me. I really like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Weapons
yeah.
back here?
Yeah, the little Crawler Snipe weapons pack with the
Yeah, that's cool.
what are
Auto
those called?
turret.
The auto turret
Sentry
from Halo
turret.
3. Yeah,
Sentry turret, auto turret, yeah, one of those.
that's
Yeah,
a
that's a
personal
nice
favorite.
build.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he likes
Any
that
others?
one, but he
The only way
hates
you
the
can
elite
get-
in the crate. All right.
No, wait, no. See, you're taking it out of context. We're talking about best sets, and you're bringing in figures, guys. Think about that.
Yeah,
that's-
it has a very well constructed weapons rack, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna argue here, Matt. You listen here, son. You look at that Watcher set. That weapons rack is spot on to the ones that decorate.
But it
the
comes with a
environments of
turret
Halo
at least,
4.
not just a crate with a box.
I love it. All right, what else are we missing, Tom?
Get rid of the RC Mantis.
You don't want it in the top 10.
It doesn't deserve to be, no.
All right, so I'll leave it on this page just for I'll move things around. That's bottom tier. Okay. All right, so we're not going to consider that one. Anything else? So we're kind of down to the smaller sets. If no one feels strongly about the Goshawk, I'm going to leave it off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
It's
mean,
a kind of it's
Well,
a
I-
cool set,
yeah.
but the actual when you have it in your hands, the turret isn't that great. It's kind of floppy, and it doesn't hold a candle in my mind to the Warthog resistance.
No.
You do get a Promethean, which is cool.
It's
but,
close, though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna nominate it quite yet. Tom, any others?
Yeah, I would make the argument to get rid of the 3-in-1 sets as well, because while they did go together to make a booster frame, it was very small in scale. And I just know from my personal experience, they were always at ridiculously cheap prices. And things like the smoke weapons, I just feel like they don't compare as well to the other things we mentioned.
The smoke weapons were. So one thing I do want to mention, the packaging on these things, I think were top notch. They kind of all went together, and they had art that played off each other on the packaging.
Yeah, they
did.
The packaging was big for what you really got in.
It was
the
tall,
set
too.
Itself. But I do appreciate that, and I actually did like the booster frame. I like this booster frame from a structural standpoint better than the booster frame set. The booster frame set seemed to fall
With
apart
Fred?
on me.
Yeah,
more
I've
so
had
than
that.
this one. But it's gonna be hard to get those up into the top 10. But I feel like it's at least worth mentioning that they exist,
Yeah.
and I think they're cool little sets.
And
Personally,
it's an example of a cool concept, because they hadn't really
Yeah.
tried anything like that beforehand, so it was nice.
yeah, combining
seeing-
sets. I hope they
Yeah.
do that. If again something similar, take
Yeah, it would be
multiple
cool to
sets
see.
and they can be used together. They've done that a little bit with the Hornet and the Consano set.
Yeah.
They combined to do something. So that is a fun concept.
I do.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting piece of trivia for you on one of these. The UNSC Armory pack that's got the Oni Marine.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
original version that released and that showed up mostly in stores was actually the same as the Blind Bag Marine. So it had grey and black armor as opposed to just jet black. But a jet black version with no highlights apart from the face and the goggles did actually make it out to retail as well, and was a super rare variant of that original pack.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually think that those variants only came out in the UK, because I know that I was able to get 2 of them back in the day, but I don't think they popped up elsewhere, which was quite interesting.
And this is the one that had the old articulation, right? And then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
revamped. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was during that time that we had the transition into the
Yeah.
Gen 2.
So we have some Covenant armor packs, customizer packs, weapon packs, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if those are gonna. I mean, if anybody feels strongly about some of these, we're really down to the smaller sets. We've excluded the 2 bigger ones that we think may not make it. Anything else between a fire team or a figure pack that you think deserves to be in the top 10? Matt, anything else?
I feel like this wave was very centered around figures.
As it should be.
Yeah.
I like.
What
I
about
love.
this ordnance pack with this? Is it a Chief or it's just a?
That's a
what is
tan
this
Mark 6.
See,
Tan
now,
Mark 6.
I would say that the ordnance that came with the Warthog Resistance was better detailed than this one right here. The sand one.
I would disagree, purely because.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Well, it's a way to get a painted saw that we don't get often.
Yeah.
It comes with a painted DMR, and the railgun does actually have some little black highlights on it. There's not much on it, but there are some highlights there. So it was one of the only ways to get Halo 4 painted weapons. And that saw is very nice.
Yeah.
Is it top 10 nice, Tom?
Nah.
Not top 10, but it's nice.
Well, wait a second. Is that better than the Elite with the crate?
Nah. I tell you what is better than the Elite with the crate, though. I've been thinking
everything.
What's better than just an Elite and a Jackal? That pack, I think I got 4 of, because it is the only time they have done a painted plasma turret, which was really cool. It had silver details on the underside. You got an assortment of painted weapons. You got the yellow version of the Jackal shield, as well as the blue version. Super articulated blue Storm Elite miner. Painted Storm rifle. Painted needler. There was a really, really nicely painted plasma pistol, which was also the new sculpt in that. And the brand new sculpt for the Covenant boxes.
Okay. You've convinced me. I moved to the top 10 consideration list. So
you got my hopes up and then instantly crushed them.
Is that the weapons pack? Is that what that one is?
Yeah, I think it was called the weapons pack.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So unless there are no other standouts, I think I'm just looking through the rest of these. Oh, so the helmet. I put the helmet, the gray helmet with
the
the
micro
mini
fleet.
Mantis, micro fleet in there because the Mantis is a Halo 4 vehicle, but I don't think it deserves being in the top 10. Not when you stand it up against this other stuff. So I'm not going to fight for that one. Okay. I do like the little Watcher set, but it's more like a nice to have for me as a collector and as a if you do want to set up a forerunner Promethean type battle situation, to have some of those, because there's a lot of Watchers in Halo 4 that are annoying. That's something we didn't talk about before. Watchers are super annoying. They get better in Halo 5, but let's. I'm gonna keep that one there for now until we start ranking the rest of these. All right, so speak now or forever hold your peace. We're going to move on to the top 10. Anything else, guys? All right.
Nah, I think we're good.
Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to list off what we have in our top 10 consideration list for you all. Here we go. So we have Warthog Resistance. We have the Mantis. We have Forward Unto Dawn. We have Cauldron Clash. We have Fireteam Crimson. We have the Armor Bay, we have the Cryo Bay, we have the Broadsword, we have the Promethean Warriors, we have the little Elite set that Tom likes. We have the Crawler set, the Crawler Sniper set. We have the Mammoth, Sierra Squad. We have the Gunship, and then we also have the weapons pack, Covenant weapons pack. All right, so that's about, what is that? What am I up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15. That's a good list to move around. Gabe, what's the best one of all these? You tell me. I'm going to start that one at the top. And we can go from there.
Hold on. I have to consider a whole bunch of things.
You don't have to consider. There's a favorite. Which one is your favorite?
Probably my most sought after Dream.
Forward Unto Dawn, top.
Forward Unto Dawn goes to top.
But does that deserve to be number one?
We're gonna work that out. Let me just get an initial list here, okay? So we can debate that. Tom, what's number 2 behind the Forward Unto Dawn?
Don't say it, Tom. Don't say it. Don't even.
The little weapons pack.
Warthog Resistance.
Warthog Resistance.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. We're gonna debate that. All right. What else deserves to be in the top 10 here, Matt? What needs to be in this top 10?
Mammoth.
Number 3. Mammoth is up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy, round to me. Boy, this is gonna be fun. I tell you what, I got a grin on my face. I'm gonna put the Armor Bay. I really like that little Armor Bay set.
Yes, sir.
Super cool. All right, so that's top 4 for now. We'll move things around eventually. What else deserves to be in this top 10? Back to you, Gabe.
Cryo Bay.
Okay. Cryo Bay. There's our top 5 to start. Who else needs consideration, Tom?
Cauldron
Who
Clash.
needs to be in this list?
True.
What'd you say?
Cauldron Clash.
Cauldron?
It
Okay.
was...
Get that down with that.
I'm not going to argue it yet, but I've got a strong argument.
Okay. All right. Back over to you, Matt. What needs to be in here?
Pelican gunship.
Gunship. Yep. Absolutely. See,
Yes,
this
sir.
is going smooth. All right. We're going to be able to eliminate a couple of these. All right.
Well, we're gonna have to vote to see which one gets voted off the island.
Well, we will. We will. I'm going to fight for Crimson a little bit. I'm going to put Crimson in there. Gabe, what about you?
Well, oh, boy, what do we have left?
So if you go on to the second slide there, I've got everybody left here. So we have a Mantis, we have a Broadsword, we have our Covenant Weapons pack, we have the Sniper, Promethean, or Sniper
I'm gonna
Crawler.
go with Broadsword.
Okay. I mean, that's got to be in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It has to be.
So one more for the top 10. Tom,
Don't do
does
it. Tom.
does the Elite make it?
Don't do it.
The Elite 2-pack with the Jackal does.
Oh, thank
Okay.
goodness.
All right. Okay. All right. So no, Matt, you need to make an argument for one of these other sets.
Oh,
to make it
wait,
in the
hold
top
up,
10.
wait. Did nobody pick Sierra Squad?
No.
No.
So
Oh, get
we can
rid
talk
of the
about
Elite.
that.
Sierra
we'll talk
Squad.
about that. Okay, Sierra Squad's ahead of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
All right.
Wait.
What needs to be up there? What are these other sets? So the ones that fell off so far are the Mantis, the Covenant Weapon set, the Elite. What's the name of this one again, Tom, that you like?
Get rid of it, it's fine.
Okay.
No, I wanted to stay now. I wanted to be part of the
Oh,
fight.
now he likes it.
And
Don't give up on it,
I don't
Tom.
want it anymore.
This
I'm
is
gonna
your
move him
pick.
to the
You stick
bottom.
with it.
I'll
Okay, he's out.
I'll say for my piece, the Sniper Crawler.
Yep.
I'm not. You can
Not
get rid
top
of that
10.
one.
See?
He's not
See?
better than Sierra Squad or any of these others.
No,
Okay,
I mean
so
I'm
move him
choosing
off
it for the
side.
sole fact that like it's literally a figure and a bunch of weapons. It's not really that much of a set. It's
So
more of
the
just
big question is does the Mantis overtake any of these other sets?
Yes.
Matt, in your mind, what? Okay,
Yes,
so we'll
I
move
think
it into
it-
consideration.
I will say that I think the Mantis.
Where does it fall in this list here for you?
I think it should be where Sierra Squad is because, like I said before, I'm
10.
not a huge fan of the hockey pad armor,
Right.
but it is a cool battle pack set. It is. I like the idea of a just a Marine set. It's just I think Tom alluded to it earlier where he was talking about how the UNSC was moving in a more futuristic way, and it kind of feels a little too Star Trek-y how they were going with that. But
So
that's
that's
my
like an art style versus like a
Yeah,
pack
Yeah.
I'm going to
value.
counter-argument that compared to
Do
the
it.
Mantis. I feel like the Mantis, while it's a strong set aesthetically, it's not playable. It's
Yeah.
pretty delicate.
Yeah.
Okay,
A
yeah,
lot
so
of
this
the
is something
light
I can't
pieces
comment
will
about.
pop off when you pose it, and the joints don't tend to hold poses that well. So I like it, but for me, it's literally a set that's lying on the table next to my Scarab because I can't get a pose out of it because of the joints at the moment.
I
So-
definitely agree with Tom. The Mantis looks best probably docked at the station. It literally trying to stand it up is
squatting her
horrible.
down.
It doesn't.
Okay.
It just
All right,
doesn't.
I'll concede that point. Yeah, functionally,
Okay.
probably not
Hey.
a good pick.
Well, we'll leave it as an 11 right now. So
Yeah.
does Promethean Warriors? I don't think I put Promethean Warriors up in the top 10 here, or the Covenant weapon set.
I think Promethean Warriors would be a top 10 if it had been 2 normal crawlers and a normal knight. But I don't understand why they decided to make it the Knight Lance, because it just makes
wrong
it
with him?
a lot less for me it makes it a lot less valuable army building when I think we've only had the normal knight once in Cauldron Clash and that's it.
No, it came once in the Kestrel Strike. It came
Oh, yeah.
once in the Cauldron, and I believe it came in the newest Phaeton. It was orange.
Oh, the
yeah.
orange one.
Yeah.
There
Yep.
you go. Okay. So it's out there.
this Promethean set, it would have been awesome if it had the traditional darker Promethean colors.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
a fan of the colors that they went with.
I definitely agree with that.
I would have
So-
bought so many more if they were the traditional
Yeah.
color.
So a side note, as you know, I'm going to harp on my chess set again. I was hoping to just get a bunch of these for my chess set, and it's a different color than the other ones,
Yeah.
as you're saying. So it's like I have to just get a bunch of these things, or, you know. Anyway, let's go. All right, so we're going to leave this as it is right now. Give me a reason why, Tom, the Warthog Resistance is a better set than the Ford Unto Dawn.
It's not.
Okay.
That's easy.
Matt, why is it better?
It is better because the Warthog is the signature iconic feature of what Halo is.
Okay, but
Ooh.
hear me out.
And
here.
Forward Unto Dawn broke in half.
Matt, your favorite set is the Mammoth, yeah?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that if it wasn't for the Forward Unto Dawn, because that set started the entire Signature series.
Oh,
That's not an argument for why.
That's not it. Yeah. That's like mine's
Well-
good.
So,
Step 3's great because Step 2 made it great.
All right, so you do believe that Warthog resists. All right, so I'm going to put those next to each other up here on the top.
There is a reason why Mega continues to make Warthogs with every line because they are pure fire.
But wait a minute, you think the Mammoth is the best set?
Oh, I was saying that the Warthog is better than the Forward
I
Unto
know,
Dawn.
but you think the Mammoth is the best set.
It's my favorite. I don't think it deserves the number one spot.
Oh, you don't? Oh.
No, I think the Warthog Resistance deserves the number one spot. Because in our Warthog review, back in our Warthog show, which is a great episode, you guys should go check it out, the Warthog Resistance won
Yeah.
It did.
as best Warthog.
But I think that was before we got the Infinite one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Infinite's way better. Yeah, much better.
And I feel like this is going to be bad because I'm just going to want to counter everything. But on your point of it being the Warthog, and obviously innovating upon it, we get a Warthog every single line. Kevin
single
said that himself.
line.
It's the staple of the line. How often do we get a UNSC spaceship? We've got the
Never.
Infinity, we've got the Forward Unto Dawn. Those are the two scales. And I go back to it.
Without the Warthog, Chief would not have been able to survive any of the Halos. He would have died on Halo 1.
If it wasn't for the Forward Unto Dawn, we wouldn't be doing this episode.
Am I allowed to argue for the set that I think is best, which is the Forward Unto Dawn?
Yeah,
Because
I wanna hear this.
I want to talk. I want to focus on the fact that these are the sets and ignore the games, because whether the Warthog,
Thank
whatever.
you.
The sets, the set itself was revolutionary for Mega Construx. It was the very first signature series. It was the biggest set ever. Set number 9, I think it was 95117. Had
it
this
was.
special Halo 4 Master Chief. It was 60 color like paint pass or something. All these different washes. It came with the only ever.
The Chief that came with it is pretty awesome, too.
The captain, right?
The turtle was just flipping out. It came with the only ever UNSC captain. They've never made another one ever. Came
Captain
with the Blue
Lasky?
Zealot. No, it was an officer.
It's like an admiral almost,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's dead, so don't worry about it.
Aw,
Yeesh.
poor guy.
But came with the frosted cryopod. It came with all the things that Matt likes about the Mammoth. You could remove all of the roof pieces. You could split it in half. You could display it in different ways. It was iconic, and it's super coveted now. I still drool over it and wish that I had it. But it even had these little display pieces. It just the Forward Unto Dawn was the Halo Mega Block set.
All right, I got a counter. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with why you can't compare that piece of trash Forward Unto Dawn to the Mammoth. The Forward Unto Dawn, the Mammoth, though not to scale, is actually more to scale to the figures than the Forward Unto Dawn. So the Mammoth is allowing you to be able to play with all your other sets,
You're
whereas
reaching.
the Forward Unto the
I've
Forward
got
Unto
this, guys,
Dawn.
don't worry.
The Forward Unto Dawn, the Forward Unto Dawn is its own piece that has to be set aside. And though you can take it all apart like the Mammoth, there isn't a real play factor that you can include with the other sets because it's just not to scale. Whereas the Mammoth, more so.
You're countering the playability
Yeah,
What's the
exactly.
point?
Okay.
What's the point of being playable if you only come with one desirable figure compared to 3?
Well, we're talking about the build quality of the set, Tom.
It's the full set, right?
It's the full set.
All right, let's move on from that a little bit.
And Mammoth is the first set to come with Lasky.
So
Yeah.
you're saying, Matt, your list is Resistance, then Mammoth,
Yeah.
then Forward Unto Dawn?
No, then Pelican Gunship.
So how far down does Forward Unto Dawn drop for you?
Oh, here, let me pull up my list.
Oh, you made a list. Okay.
Yeah, I made a list, even though we kind of deviated from it. Forward Unto Dawn is number 6 for me.
I want to throw up.
Whoa.
I want to throw up at hearing that.
Here's
I'm gonna leave it right next to the Warthog Resistance. Give me the rest of your top 10. Give me your list right now.
my
I'm
list.
gonna order them. Yep. I want to hear
Okay,
this.
Warthog Resistance, Mammoth, Pelican Gunship, Broadsword, Cauldron Clash, Forward Unto Dawn, Cryo Bay, Mantis, Night Ops, Crimson.
And Crimson's in there.
Oh, so
Okay.
you put
that
the
moves
Goss
things around
Hog
quite a
in
bit.
there.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you did
Yeah.
but you
Is
conceded
part
that.
of that
Sid
inspired
conceded
by the
that.
fact that it was the same colour near enough as the Mammoth, so you
Yeah.
can kind of use them together, yeah?
Yeah. See, and that's the cool thing about the Mammoth is it can play with the other sets, whereas Forward Unto Dawn, you can't fit a Warthog in there for beans.
No, but you can display it with the Infinity and they look really cool.
It's not to scale, though. Infinity
So
should
does
dwarf
it.
it.
Neither's the Mammoth.
That's a Mammoth at all.
It's more so.
All right, so we're gonna have to make some concessions here.
Question on
We're-
Forward Unto
we're
Dawn.
running long.
Do
What's
you
that?
guys like Halo 3's design of Forward Unto Dawn or Halo 4's?
I like them both. I don't understand why the change happened, but I do like the
Well,
look.
I
of the
assume
Halo
the
4
change
frigate.
happened for the same reason that Chief's armor changed. It's just,
Yeah.
there's no excuse
Man.
for it, but it
Those
just,
nanobots were
whatever.
working overtime.
they were
Yeah.
doing something. I tell you.
Right. All right, so let's try to narrow down just the top 5.
Yeah.
So based off of that, so Broadsword, Gabe, can Broadsword live in the top 5 for you?
Okay, see, I'm comparing Broadsword to things like the FUD, the Mammoth, the Pelican, Cauldron. Those are the main ones I'm comparing it to.
Mm-hmm.
It beats Cauldron for me.
Okay.
It's
Does it
such
beat
a
Armor Bay and the Cryo Bay?
it
Consider
beats
the figures, right? You're a figure guy.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know.
See, that's the thing. Things
The
like
Didact.
Armor Bay comes with Skinned Recon and Technician. Broadsword comes with the first ever Didact the second ever full Cortana figure, and then Chief. Does it make top 5 though? I feel about it the same way that I feel about the Mammoth, which is the fact that it's cool, it's super cool, but you see it and use it in game maybe for about 20 minutes max, and then you never see it again, and that's what's the point.
And Forward Unto Dawn, which is only there for
Halo-
barely anything.
Halo 3, Halo 4.
Nah,
That's already
half of that
that's
ship
already
is in
a
Halo
whole
4.
nother game than the Mammoth.
You can't pull in Halo 3.
Wow.
I've got a top 5 ready.
Yeah,
give it
yeah.
to me.
Pass
Oh,
it to
boy.
Tom. Yeah.
So, top 5, Forward Unto Dawn's first,
Yes, sir.
Warthog Resistance is second,
Debatable.
Cauldron Clash is third, the
Oh,
Pelican
wow.
is fourth,
What?
and the Mammoth is fifth.
Blasphemy.
I can't do it. Nope.
That is a
Veto.
horrible
What one?
top
What
5.
Well, why does Cauldron Clash jump that high for you?
So, Cauldron Clash was for the longest time the only way that you could get a Halo 4 Marine. And it came with a Watcher, a normal Knight, and 2 Crawlers. So it was ideal for army building. It was built in a way that if you got 2, you could easily mirror the builds and combine them. And I just agree with Matt. It's not something we get often,
Yep.
literally, you can't see it because of my background, but behind me over there is in the sky behind Chief. Is where my
That's what
Cauldron
Chief's
Clash
looking at.
is. And it literally has all of my Promethean figures displayed around it, 2 Halo 5 Banshees and some other things, just because it's that centerpiece.
Yep.
And I feel like we don't get that often. So to have the balls to actually go away and make something based off of it. I knew somebody was going to laugh at me saying that. But to have the guts to make something based off of a Spartan Ops map, essentially...
Yeah.
I think is really cool, and I think it's something that we haven't really seen a set of since. And at the end of the day, in the Halo games, where do you spend a lot of time? In forerunner structures. What does it make sense to have in the line? A forerunner structure.
Bingo. And that's the cool thing about why I like the Mammoth and why I like the Cauldron classes. They're sets you can play in, on, and around. And they add to a level of playability that I think Forward Unto Dawn does not.
So do you think... So that's a top 5 above Cryo Bay for you, Armor Bay, that sort of stuff, right?
So the only reason why it would be above them, again, is the fact that here in the UK, for example, the Armor Bay is still on Amazon UK. They were sets that did not sell particularly well here. So I had, I think, 3 of the Cryo Bay, and I got them for like £5 each. So it was kind of a case of they're nice sets, but they were readily available. Something like Cauldron Clash took me a while to acquire because it was always sold out. So I feel like for me personally, there's maybe that element of actually feeling that level of satisfaction at getting something harder to acquire.
Maybe that's why I like the FUD so much, because I never got it.
Yeah.
Gabe, you can
I'm
share
intrigued by
mine.
that.
It's fine.
Okay.
We're gonna win this, Gabe.
All right, so we gotta keep moving this conversation forward. So here's what I'm gonna do. Oh boy, executive powers here.
Do it,
I'm
Colin.
gonna keep the Forward Unto Dawn at the top.
Yes!
I don't think there's 3 of us that I feel like are gonna fight for that thing to be number 1. So again, this is collective. This is a
Comment below
list.
if how wrong these guys are.
I'm
I'm gonna get destroyed in the comments.
The fact that there is such an argument over 2 signature series sets is a real testament to that line. Because that was something that when you think about it, as much as we're all fans of Mega, I think it's fair to say that Mega don't have the same retail presence as a company like Lego. So for somebody like Lego, it's a lot easier to put a higher price item on the market. But to actually be willing to take that step and put those sets out is a real testament to them being willing to experiment with things. And I think ultimately that's why that line as a whole has become so popular.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at something like the NMPD Airbase. That set wasn't particularly popular when it released. Still goes for ridiculous money on the aftermarket.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go forward, and we're gonna talk this through real quick. I'm gonna go Forward Unto Dawn. I'm gonna put Mammoth number 2. I'm gonna put Warthog Resistance number 3. I'm gonna put the Pelican Gunship number 4. And Tom, you convinced me to move Cauldron Clash into the number 5 spot.
I can live with that.
And then what am I gonna do over here? I'm gonna move Armor Bay to 6, Broadsword to 7, Cryo Bay to 8, Sierra Squad to 9, Crimson to 10. Tell me your feelings on that, Clem. Gabe Clem.
We're just gonna move to Clem.
You like that?
Clem.
But it was weird because that was my nickname in high school. Like all my teachers and all of like my weightlifting trainers and everything, they would say Clem instead of Gabe. And I was like, okay.
Right.
I just haven't heard. I haven't been called Clem in a while. You said Broadsword is 7.
I put Broadsword at 7.
Well,
let's talk about the top 5 here. Let's talk about the top 5. So I have Forward Unto Dawn, Mammoth, Resistance, Gunship, and then Cauldron Clash. How do you feel about that?
Actually,
Did you swap any?
No, that top 5, that's exactly how I put it.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah.
I agree.
How you feeling
I'm
about
happy
that?
with that.
You're happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, can you live with that? Or would you
I think essentially those are the top 5. So obviously I'd probably not live
change?
with that. I mean, obviously I'd have
Mammoth
Forward
first.
Unto Dawn. I'd have Forward Unto Dawn a little lower.
You'd have Forward Unto Dawn. But
yeah,
knowing our feelings about it, how far down would you move it?
Well, I mean, if if it were up to me, I'd probably just put it third then.
Okay.
With your guys' feelings. But like I said, the thing about Forward Unto Dawn is it's a set that I don't own. So obviously I don't know all about it, right? So I can live with it if you guys think it's the best.
Well, I could listen to an argument if you want to put Mammoth above it. You could get me on board.
I think the Mammoth deserves to be above it because it has a level of playability that Forward Unto Dawn does not have. It is able to interact with other sets by allowing Warthogs to come in and out. It's able to really kind of live with the other sets in that it's something that you can play. Like, you can drive a Warthog around it. You can put it as a defense position in your UNSC fire base, whereas Forward Unto Dawn is a shelf piece.
It's a shelf piece primarily.
Yeah. And I think playability, if you want to look at like design, playability, and what's another, figures, I guess, right? So the Mammoth has an excellent design. Forward Unto Dawn has an excellent design. Mammoth has great figures. So does Forward Unto Dawn. What has playability more? The Mammoth.
But
I like it.
There's no buts.
Line. So playability isn't the focus here. And especially
but
it
is though, because it rolls, man. It opens.
But the name Signature Series, this is their AFOL offering.
Well, the Mammoth is a Signature Series
to adult collectors.
And Mammoth is Signature.
The FUD as well.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's even got the extent of having a plaque on it that has all.
I
of
wouldn't
the
say playability.
I
wouldn't say playability is excluded from the Signature Series because look at the NMPD Pelican set. Like, it's all about playability.
I definitely think it's a factor of it, but it's not the main focus. The idea with these sets is to communicate.
This is intriguing.
That they couldn't do.
But the okay, so it's not the main focus with the Signature Series, but the Mammoth still has it better, right? So if you're saying the playability isn't the main focus of the Signature Series, then the Mammoth still overtakes it on playability alone. Because it is a Signature Series as well. Bingo. That's right.
I'm going to do something here.
Yep.
I'm going to make an argument that Gabe's going to agree with here.
Whoa.
From our perspective, as people who have been long-time collectors, so we have collected the line from the Halo Wars days onwards.
You're going to go to
Scarcity. We've been used to having vehicles like the Warthog, the Pelican, that kind of stuff. But that's it. When this was revealed, everybody lost it. And it hit exactly the point that it needed to hit, because up until this point, nobody had thought that something at this scale could be achieved. And yes, you've got something like the Mammoth, which is a really great set, but ultimately this was what paved the way for that. And at the end of the day, it hits that sweet spot where, like you say, yes, it has a degree of playability, but it's also got that signature feel that they hadn't done before that appeals to collectors. And actually, they tied it in perfectly at the time, because if you want to talk about playability, Matt, this set splits in half and has a hot fold-down ramp in the middle.
You can take all the roof pieces off.
A painted sticky detonator, as well as having added pieces that you put in for detail.
Well, don't forget, Tom.
Don't create that reveal trailer.
Don't forget, it even has a light-up module for Cortana. This was the first set that ever. Well. This was the first set that included the light-up module, and then they put it again for Roland in the Mammoth.
So all of your praising of Forward Unto Dawn is true. I just think that the Mammoth took it a step further, right? So I think, you know what I mean? Like, I love the idea that Forward Unto Dawn splits in half. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a play feature that you're going to be using with other sets. I think the cool thing about the Mammoth is that it incorporates other sets. You can fit 2 Warthogs in it. You can actually have figures climb around it. I mean, I guess you could do that with Forward Unto Dawn, but it would just be kind of weird. So I think the main cool thing about Forward Unto Dawn is it splits in half. But the Mammoth rolls. The Mammoth, you can drive it. You can take it apart. You can fit other vehicles in it. Come on, man. Come on.
The only thing...
Is that any different to the Elephant?
The only thing that I see different from...
We're not talking about the Elephant, though. It's not
the only thing I see different about the Mammoth that you're really pushing for that the Forward Unto Dawn doesn't have is that it rolls and that you can put a Warthog into it.
No, I'm saying that
you can still take off the pieces. You can still disassemble it. You can still. I mean,
but the mammoth allows for a greater connectivity with other sets. Is what my main push is. Is that the mammoth can be used with the warthog and it can be used with other sets on the battlefield. Whereas Forward Unto Dawn is a shelf piece. It's a very nice shelf piece, but it's a shelf piece.
I think that's its biggest weakness is the mammoth, though. The Signature Series isn't about going with other sets. It's about doing things that we're not going to get otherwise. And when you look at it, the presentation with this is like it conveys that. Like, for example, the instruction booklet. You have information on the frigate in the lore at the start of it before you build it. It's all about taking something that they wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And you look at something like the mammoth, yes, you can put a warthog in that. You can do that with an elephant as well. You can take the Halo 3 elephant and have the exact same play pattern as you can with the mammoth.
That's why the elephant's cool.
Forward Unto Dawn's so different is because there is no other way for them to achieve that.
Okay, let's table that. This is a good argument. I'm going to leave it as is. We're going to come back. Let's just talk about the bottom. Let's talk about 6 through 10 really quick. I think we can come to an agreement on that. So right now, 6 through 10, I have Armor Bay, Broadsword, Cryo Bay, Sierra, and Crimson.
All right, so
Who do we need to move around?
Guys, sell me on the Cryo Bay because I'm not as in love with it as you guys are. The Armor Bay.
Before we try and sell you on it, tell us why you don't like it.
The Armor Bay?
No, the Cryo.
I love the Cryo Bay. I'm sorry, Armor Bay. Sell me on. Okay. Try to sell me on the Armor Bay.
Why do you not like the Armor Bay?
Well, I don't not like it. I just think that, in my opinion, it's basically just the sphere with some stairs and a couple of little tech pads. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. You can play with it, but I feel like it's something that you would take. And I'll give it this, is that the cool thing about this set is you could probably buy like 6 of them, line them up, and make a really cool, like, that montage moment where Chief passes Palmer. But the Cryo Bay itself feels like it's something you buy so that you can incorporate it into something else because there's no walls. It's just it feels kind of like it's a building block to something cooler, and it's not boom, that's cool.
So what's better between that and the Cryo Bay? Do you like the Cryo Bay better?
Cryo Bay is much better because, in my opinion, it feels more like a little bit of an enclosed kind of shelf piece, snap piece. You know, it's got that. Yeah. It's got that. The Cryo Bay has that the iconic Cryo Bay, right? And it's got Cortana, and it's and it's an iconic moment in Halo 3 and 4. So it sells that. Whereas I feel like the armor changing station just feels a little unpolished compared to the Cryo Bay.
Yeah.
Gabe, why does Sierra Squad deserve to be higher? Or do the Sierra Squad and Crimson stay at the bottom?
I don't. I love fire teams, obviously, because of how much of a figure collector I am, but comparatively to everything else that we've discussed, Crimson is a bunch of Red Spartans, and Sierra is a bunch of Marines. I don't really see that much.
Should we move the Armor Bay down? Should we move Sierra? Because Sierra Squad's a nice set.
I think Sierra was good.
I would put 6 through 10, Broadsword, Cryo Bay, Armor Bay, then the fire teams. And the fire teams can be whichever one. I don't have a preference.
Tom, do you think we should move Sierra Squad above Armor Bay? Or not?
No, I think it should stay under it.
Okay.
I think the Armor Bay is actually a pretty decent set. I think my only issue with it is it doesn't move how you see it in the cutscenes. So in the cutscenes, they can rotate around and do all that kind of stuff, and it's a lot.
Oh, it doesn't even do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it just rotates on a little dial sort of thing.
Yeah.
Crimson Bay over the Marines. Crimson Fire Team.
Marines?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I like that Mega took essentially characters that we play and they made them into actual figures. Like, I like that. I love that.
I strongly disagree.
Oh.
I mean, I just said
a cool flag.
I just said I don't have a preference, and here I am.
All you needed was my dumb opinion.
So, Crimson Squad, and you all have been saying this throughout the entirety of the episode about how it, Spartan Ops and it embodies the character and all that. It's called Crimson because it's a set of crimson figures. It has, to me, I don't think it has anything to. I don't think it has anything to do with Fire Team Crimson from Spartan Ops, which is the name of your character.
No, it has everything to do with it. It's got everything to do with it. Like, look at Noble Six.
That's literally like a crimson flag. I think of it as the color. I don't apply that thought to it being Fire Team Crimson.
Well, like look at Shadow Team, right?
Yeah.
Fire Team Shadow. We don't know what they look like, but that Mega took the time to make them. In my opinion, builds out the lore. So, like, if we were gonna have like a canonical Fire Team Crimson, I would totally be okay if it included these guys' armor variants, right? That's what I'm saying. It's like it for me. It's a set that adds a little more to the lore. It kind of is that kind of additional tertiary kind of a feel.
I can understand that point of view, but
plus they're better than hockey pads.
I just don't agree with it at all. When I see Fire Team Crimson, there's never been a point in time where I thought it had anything to do with lore. I literally see them as crimson-colored Spartans. They're nothing more to me than that.
Yeah, it has to be Sierra Squad because you're going to buy more than one. You're not going to buy more than one of Crimson. And this is that army builder set. This is what Recon Getaway was back in the day.
Okay, that is a good point.
The idea here is this should be something that you're able to buy multiple of at a low price point.
That is a good point. That is a good point. All right, I will concede to Tom on that point that Sierra should be over Crimson. No.
Not on the Mammoth.
No.
Okay. So we're locking in 6 through 10. We're running long, so we need to wrap this conversation up. So I think it's really just the top two that we need to sort out.
Get your swords, men.
Or Forward Unto Dawn. So I feel like I really like the Mammoth and the playability. The playability argument is really good. I think the uniqueness. Like, I don't think first to market is a good argument for the Signature Series and Forward Unto Dawn. Yeah, sure, it paved the way, but like that happened, right? And the Mammoth. They both exist. So how do they both exist on their own, their merits, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Which one would you rather have? We haven't talked about that. Like from a playability standpoint, I would rather have the Mammoth, right?
Oh,
like,
okay.
With my boys and my kids, like Mammoth all the way. But from a collector's standpoint, I'd rather have the Forward Unto Dawn.
Turning Tom's argument about being able to buy a bunch of Sierra Squad, you can buy multiple Mammoths and it still fits the lore. You can only buy one Forward Unto Dawn.
Ooh.
Have you heard of not putting the stickers on, Matt?
It still splits in half though, and only Forward Unto Dawn split in half.
That's optional. So from my perspective,
I'm laying down great points. Concede.
Because I was in the community when it first came out, and I can just remember the reception to this was so exciting.
But we need to take that out of the equation. I feel like let's just talk about the sets itself.
Yeah,
not like the build up and the hype.
Oh, it was a great set for hype.
Tom, I feel like you and I were putting too much feeling into it. We have to break it down for it being a set.
But I think a set that emotes
beautiful.
A feeling.
It's a great set, right? But
Yeah.
from a play, like which one?
Like-
would you, Gabe, do you have both of these?
Did you ask me?
You don't have Forward Unto Dawn, right? Do you have the Mammoth?
No, I don't have.
Which one would you rather have?
I have the Mammoth. I don't have the FUD.
Would you trade your Mammoth for Forward Unto Dawn?
Immediately. See, that's the thing. It's all this talk about playability. I feel like that's great if you're 12 and under. I don't
whoa.
I don't mean to be insulting, but
I'm a grown man and I still play with my toys.
I don't stop motion guy, so it makes sense.
Yeah, like for your.
Well, that's another
for your
point
hobby,
that it fits great for me.
Obviously, it makes sense, but of course, it's subjective to everyone. I don't ever buy these to play with them. Even when I was younger, I didn't buy them to play with them. I probably put them in a setup and leave them. But even now, playability to the Mammoth okay, you can play with it. I mean, technically, I could play with the FUD if I wanted. I could swing it around, but I don't because I am a collector. So I collect them, set them, and they look really cool, and I'm happy with it.
You said
So,
collector kind of condescending there, man.
All right.
I'm like,
So,
I'm over here like playing with my sets.
While the playability thing is true, it's all subjective. I don't care about playing with them. I'm more of just like having them all for being set up and displayed, because that's just personally what I enjoy doing. I would I would trade my mammoth the instant someone said, "Hey, do you want to fuck?" I'd be like, "Yep."
That's a good point. Because
They might not
it's a
be
rarity
offering you a
standpoint.
FUD
That's
though,
from a
Gabe.
rarity.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we're gonna take into account what a set is, right, and what Mega wants for these, like if you were gonna like, okay, so you're a collector. That's you know what I mean. I'm a collector too, and but what I'm saying is that if you got, so let's say you grabbed a 12-year-old, and you gave them
Don't grab a 12-year-old.
and you gave them a mammoth and you gave them a forward unto dawn, which one would they have more fun with?
Yeah, but
You can't. I don't think that's a valid argument because it's so
says
subjective
collector
again.
series on the booklet.
Like,
for this set.
like I said, like
it says the Halo Collector series.
Like when I was 12.
This is the equivalent to something like
But
the
my
helmet.
my point is that the mammoth works as both. It works as a shelf piece and it works as playability.
Yeah.
It has that dual
detracts
capacity.
from it.
No,
Unless
it doesn't.
The shelf is off balance because it would roll.
Yeah, well,
right off
yeah.
that thing.
Woo, just make sure that there's like
So the whole
little.
thing for me is the point of these sets was to be something that we can't get. If I want playability, I can buy any set from the line, and I get that balance. But this is about giving me something else. This is about saying, right, this is special, and all you have to do is go back and watch the reveal video from this with Andrew Sparks to hear that this
what
was
a
all
guy.
about giving them, the community, something that they couldn't do before, and about giving us something that's going to stand on its own ground. Because if you go with the playability argument, you can say, well, the helmet, it's just got the data chip, that's it, it's not playable, so it's a rubbish set. No, it's appealing to a different market, it has its own place in the line.
My
You
point-
have
my-
those playable sets, but this is meant to be something different.
My point about the mammoth though is that it encapsulates both. It can be
Yeah, it's
everything the signature series sets wants you to be, what you want it to be, but it can also work as a play feature. It is superior in that way because it can do both. Whereas the Forward Unto Dawn, in my opinion, is collector. And that's great if you want it to be a collector. But the mammoth can act as both. And that's why I think it's better.
Can I mention?
We got a wrap here, so let's hear it, buddy.
Just let me mention the fact that those two battle packs next to the Pelican are exactly the same except for the Spartans, and it's garbage. Anyway, the I'm on the razor's edge of being convinced.
Oh,
Yep.
boy.
It's still FUD is still in my book best set. But I mean, if it's going to go second place to anything, the Mammoth isn't that bad. I still love the Mammoth, that's why I have the Mammoth, obviously. I mean, I bought it because it was super cool. And if FUD isn't first and Mammoth is first, I'll live. I'll cry every night,
Will you live, Tom?
but I'll live.
Tom, you won't live?
It's just, I know the reaction this got, and to go from the Forward Unto Dawn, which has got, it's like I say, it's something they've never done before, to then go to a Mammoth. It was just like, well, is this the direction this line's going in?
Well-
I just feel like the Forward Unto Dawn really sold it, and there's a reason why they came back and did the Infinity as well, and that
Well, then-
has got the same functionality as this. And
There's
it's still
more-
a really popular set.
Well, look at the Scarab. That's kind of like the
Oh, the Scarab.
Yeah, we can't talk about
the,
Scarab.
the continuation. But I mean, if you're going to pull Infinity and say that it carried on what Forward Unto Dawn did, I'll say that the Scarab carried on what the Mammoth
But
set up.
again, the Scarab was something that people were asking for. Nobody asked for a Mammoth.
I asked for the Mammoth. It's one of my favorite vehicles, man. I was like, I need a Mammoth. As soon as like that one scene where you walk up and you look up and you see the Mammoth, and then Cortana makes that joke about someone's overcompensating. That's
Yeah.
like, I'm like, that is the best that they'll ever be.
All right.
I can't believe
so
Tom went
the fact
that
that they
hard.
pulled them. The fact that they
Jared.
pulled both those sets off, I think, is fantastic, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
for collectors.
Yeah.
It's great for them, right? Mega Construx, the fact that they created these things is fantastic. So I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna leave FUD at top. It's gonna be a 1A 1B situation. There's too much passion on the FUD side, and Matt, you're very passionate about the Mammoth, and I feel a lot of your arguments, but at the same time, if I add in my collector brain, the FUD is the one you want to have as a collector. So I don't think it's saying that the Mammoth is, obviously it's not a bad set, but I feel like there's enough argument that we need to leave FUD on top.
I am going to add, Matt, you have made me want to look for a Mammoth on eBay now.
Oh, yeah. Matt's argument has made me appreciate the fact that I didn't sell my Mammoth when I was tempted to. I'm glad that I kept it.
Yeah, never do that.
Right. Okay.
All right.
So
well,
let's just
everybody comment below at how wrong everybody is. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to hear all those Mammoth people, the people that do think the Mammoth is, more people that are in.
I honestly didn't know Forward Unto Dawn was this popular, to be honest. I haven't heard a whole lot of praise for it.
It's rare and it's a beautiful set.
It is.
It's pretty great. Figures are great. The build is great. All that stuff. All right, so we're gonna call it. I'm gonna list them off real quick, and then we're gonna close the show. So we are gonna go number 1, Forward Unto Dawn. Number 2, Mammoth. Number 3, Warthog Resistance. Number 4, Pelican Gunship. Number 5, Cauldron Clash. Number 6, the Broadsword. Number 7 is the Cryo Bay. Number 8 is the Armor Bay. Number 9 is Sierra Squad, and number 10 is Crimson, Fireteam Crimson.
All three of those that I picked actually stayed on the list, though. So right.
That's right. That's true. That's a good point. All right, so we don't have time to promote ourselves. We love you all. We hope you had fun with this conversation. I think we're going to do more of this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
This is really good. So let us know what ideas you have to debate, more top 10s you want us to hear us decide.
Top 10 figures, Gabe.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple ideas. Top 10 figures and top 10 Halo Reach sets.
We could do all sorts of fun stuff with this. So,
but yeah, that's another
Before we get out of here, though, I did want to touch upon our community question. So, community question, we hit Twitter and Discord, I do believe. So, what set would you like to see Mega Construct create based on Halo 4? We had quite a few little bits of feedback. So, Photon, hey, what's up, Photon? You are awesome, sir. Said this one, where he wrangles that ghost like some dead animal off a cliff. And that's referring to our picture that we used for the question with the chief kind of like looking out, and then when Tom edited it in the back, so that's pretty cool. Ian answered, and he is at Ian Faringer. I hope I'm saying that right for you. By the way, you are a very, very awesome person. The Broadsword, even though I already owned the original set, so maybe like a revamp of the Broadsword. Make it a little more curved instead of not as much blocky, right? Eggy_OK. A Mantis with ball joints, but using the colors of the original Mantis. So maybe an updated Mantis is what we're going for here. Some idiot named Matt Salvatore said Covenant Glitch, so I don't know about that. Armagist, I hope I'm saying that right, posted the Didact Dyson Sphere and a Mantis, so maybe an updated Mantis, and I totally agree about having that imprisonment of the Dyson Sphere. Maybe we could also include it with different colors so that we could have that Halo 5 cutscene.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't.
The security robot, more Forerunner architecture, maybe even some Forerunner figures to go with it. Can't let the Didact be their only representative. I fully support this, and I co-sign it, and I am willing to throw my wallet at Forerunner structures. Orion the Elder said, a Requiem set to scale, obviously. That's going to be pretty big, mate. Halo UK goes grappling hook hands. So, that's kind of interesting. Steven at Monkeys SX Moo 35 responded with anything so long as we finally get figures based on the campaign's 4s. So I'm guessing he's going for the Spartan 4s in Halo 4 with those kind of traditional colors. Next up, we are on to the Discord. Let's see what Discord had to say. All right, Discord, same question. Nate Rhyme, definitely a new Broadsword, Mantis, or Mammoth set. have the mammoth carry like an entire warthog. So he's asking for a mammoth, There's a lot of demand for mammoths. The pesky bird also said mammoth and mantis, also Promethean army builder, so another mammoth. Turkey Tendy goes mammoth or a scorpion. Matt Regret goes a cryptum. Oh yeah, is that what the Didact called? Is a cryptum? What did I call it? I don't remember. Nate Rhyme also goes. Nope, actually, wait. We're going to the pesky bird. A piece of the dawn. Nobody wants a piece of the dawn. Thankful Cow 287 wants Mantle's approach with infinity to scale, like Lego did with the Executor Collector's Edition that had a Star Destroyer to scale included. The Star Destroyer was so cute. I actually kind of like that idea, and we talked about that in a couple episodes past with a micro fleet, so that's kind of cool. The Pesky Bird also comes back with a Fire Team Majestic set. Now, I kind of agree with this because we've had Majestic, and they've really only existed in the heroes. And I don't even think we have all the heroes. So that would be kind of cool if they went and did a Majestic set. I wouldn't be mad if they did a Halo Reach either. Noble Team. Turkey Tendy. Oopsies. Turkey Tendy goes Marine Team Fire Pack. Make a new one. They got a couple of good ones coming out. In more of the infinite fashion. I wouldn't say they have the hockey pad edition coming out anytime soon. The pesky birdie said, also give them heads with pegs so you can put helmets on them if you want different Marines. And that's something that we've seen in the infinite line. Festive FBI goes, make a Prophets pack. Now this is a cool idea. Like having truth, regret, and mercy. How about that regret? You know what I mean? George Status Spot. You shall bow at our presence, peasants. I guess that's a reference to the prophets. Festive FBI also comments, or maybe a Covenant and or UNSC leaders pack. I'll take both. The pesky birdie also comes back with, I want an Infinity crew pack, 3 Marines, a sergeant, and 2 officers using Lasky's body with different heads. Now that's cool because I think we kind of need more technicians and more officers to really kind of hone in on having an army, instead of just Marines. Turkey Tendy comes back with Spartan armor stand thing. I think he means like the infinite armor bay. Have maybe 2 crew figures and 1 Spartan with tons of armor pieces. And I think that's all we got. So, hey, thank you guys so very much for commenting in on that and answering our questions. And remember, don't forget to leave a comment on when this is posted on Twitter or when it's posted on YouTube to comment below about how awesome the mammoth is. And really, really, really quick, I did want to do a quick shout out to @C_Joyce22. Connor Joyce, he reached out and had some very kind words about the show. So thank you so much for listening and thank you for reaching out. Those comments really do mean a lot. So thank you. You are very awesome. And that's all we had from community. Back to you.
Yeah, that'll do it for our show. Thanks for joining Builds with Blocks. If you like the show, want to support Podcast Evolves, feel free to check out our Patreon. We'd love to have you a part of the patrons. And that will do it. Until next time. Evolved.
Evolved.
Evolved.